different looks being shown, and in the long run, it worked out. But man, what a start.
Up to them. We're 5-5 now.
Yeah, that's a huge bounce back from G2. The eco's still fine, at least in this round for KC.
Sen versus BBL is coming up. We're going to switch over when that starts.
To run it back and not finding the success that they were hoping for onto A, it does put some pressure to try to get.
Why does the stream quality look better, or am I drunk?
Early enough for Elite to find a body for the neural theft.
The stream quality looks better over here.
Making a commitment here in terms of we know where everyone is. Where do we want to take our numbers?
It's only BO1, yes.
Some vacancy for Shaq to work with, trying to spam through the dark cover, but Firewall goes up and KC moving their way into B.
And Shaq could be just pushing past.
They have a Phoenix. They have a Phoenix.
A lead, which can open up market and weaken things even further for KC. That's a big win for Shaq. And now KC have to pay attention, but at least playing from B main, they have some space to fall back and play in safer position.
Why is Shaq kind of a fire alias?
Is going to be a problem if he brings that up. It'll force KC to play within the site, but they're just looking at the front door, and Giacomo with the showstopper off in the corner. An easy splash. He gets two, but KC still have Martin and Tarik.
Backside of the site, Martin's been very safe. He has an idea where Shaq is. Little wiggle, little wag.
The jiggles are so... Holy fuck, Shaq is insane.
HP, but does have both shock darts, hearing all the footsteps. Does he find the ability to line them all up? There's the first, there's the second.
What a spoiler. What a fucking spoiler. I don't know who's here. Did you hear the spoiler?
KC retake the edge.
Yeah, the post plans for KC are getting better and better, although it is coming down to the wire of Sadak just getting behind the backs of G2. But
oh, I think we missed the interview.
Worried about KC when they lost market control, but I'm seeing Shaq just play with a lot of confidence despite kind of coming in as filling big shoes.
Well, I think the thing about that take for KC is, again, with the neural theft being earned so early, you're not setting
I'll keep an eye on the second stream. I have it on my other monitor.
The defensive G2 has to rotate, and you don't want to put yourself in a position to take.
Why is my manager third fragging? Is it Shaq assistant coach?
But now we want to get into the conversation here, which is Martin on the hot.
Wow.
Just absolutely ran down for first blood. But
when Sentinel game start? Probably in the next 20 minutes, if I had to guess.
So that means that KC cannot necessarily follow up on that first blood. But with G2 losing their defender on B, this is one of those moments where will the element of surprise be enough for them to get back into the site?
I've been finally waiting to see kind of some solo plays out of KC, playing that double duelist, and Martin just pulling 3 players of G2 towards the right side, allowing KC to have a sense of safety. They extend through the top side. Now they only have to worry through main, and that's KC just kind of dotting the I's, crossing the T's.
This is a difficult post-plant setup right now, though, for KC. They do get a really solid reveal through B main, and that makes life extremely easy. Let's say for a moment you might get trapped with Giacomo trying to pinch back through the defensive spawn, but now he's by himself. Giacomo able to find the first.
He's kind of moving, though.
More behind that 7-5 half for KC, doing what they need to keep an edge early.
But now playing this double duelist, maybe you wanted to squeeze out a few more rounds out of the double duelist. But
like
I think that timeout from G2, right in the middle of that momentum, that 4-round streak out of KC, kind of really killed the energy.
The setup here looks better with the table distance.
KC as well. So you wish you got more out of a 7-5, but we'll see how these duelists can kind of maybe separate away from the
product glasses
and enable themselves, whether it's the curveball with the Phoenix, which is great solo, or even Martin with the dimensional drift, who went from one side of the world to the other. I'm liking the ideas out of KC.
I think the interesting thing here is
why are the tables so low to the ground? Wait, you're kind of right.
Knowing that trap plays are likely going to be the biggest.
The tables do look really fucking low. No, everyone's got their own height. Everyone's got their own height. Look.
The other side of this too, though, is like,
or am I tweaking?
KC showed
I think everyone has their own height. Look, he's changing it right now. Look, 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 look.
At any point in the round,
look.
They could essentially use those same tools and default to playing for retake in their own right. You know, using the firewall to break off parts of A or parts of B wherever a spike gets planted, and then you flash around those close corners. You get the Yoru a little bit deeper, and you just kind of play through the smokes, through the walls. That's definitely, you know, one of those situations.
What's the perfect height? Usually I line it up with
if
my
you're KC. Like, I think that's kind of
I can see it.
What are we gonna get? You know, is G2's gonna play him fast? KC.
Everyone's got their own preference, bro.
Probably match that tempo, but if G2 with a Chamber and a Viper try to feel things out, like KC could just hold back, avoid giving a first blood, and just playing for retake.
Yeah, I think Shaq did a good job of anchoring.
It's always where is Leaf, never how is Leaf. I'm running an ad, by the way.
Just balancing how aggressive he wanted to be and kind of swing out.
Tag W in the chat.
He could get those one-on-one trades, and even going for Martin, not sitting back and waiting for G2 to rotate with him, but we'll see how G2 now can activate with a raise setup with Giacomo.
Crazy transition.
Okay, bye, Jonah P.
It's another one of those things, though. Like, this is what G2 are defaulting towards. When you play a chamber like this, you're looking for first blood success. And not to say that it hasn't been there, but it hasn't been as significant as you would hope for if you're G2.
Good job, bro.
Now you're just pulling off this 45
help.
plant. There's the flash to give you the indication of that retake. Paranoia to counter. And KC will have to kind of set themselves up.
Is that reloading?
Likely use Martin as an entry point behind this Sova drone.
Just G2 very happy to get those flashes out of the way and maybe even baiting that out, playing as close to the corner as they could to fall back when needed. Now G2 were aggressive, but wait, Elite with a big double kill coming through market with the rest. So
what is going on?
Places the smoke, gets the defuse, and you got kind of a crossfire from G2 to try and prevent this, but the firing squad from KC is too strong, and they get the pistol.
And that's just another one that you use the numbers to your advantage. You know you're likely going to be giving something away by forcing so much action through mid off the get-go.
Capsule, I know for a fact you're not watching ads.
Retake. You don't allow G2 to do anything too crazy. You don't let him get in towards the backside of B. You flash him out, you reset, you split the retake by sending a couple of players through market. And it just forces G2 to have to hold on pistols, which is never going to be
Motherfucker's complaining about ads as he's not watching them.
They don't really have any way to counter it. I
literally fucking exposed his ass.
Shaq essentially playing double sentinel. And you really
honestly,
don't have the ability.
Most of the motherfuckers complaining about the ads are probably not watching him.
To create deterrence or distraction.
That's respect, dude.
Good read from KC early.
They're just haters.
And J2 is in some problem spots here. They're going to go to the Stinger Force up.
Just KC being able to punish these lurks from Jonah P, getting that critical damage before he's able to teleport out has
Slasher said,
huge.
Tarik, I'm about to do
just gonna have double
a live interview on NPR CNN about how excited I am for EWC come through.
With Elite.
Oh, I think I'm gonna take the backseat on this one. You got that, King.
Close range like that. Big stinger buy from G2. They're known for those forces in the anti-eco or going up against it. And they just try to run it down against KC, who are just ready for this level of aggression. G2 did exactly that in the previous round.
Yeah, love that in terms of a design for an execute for G2. You drop a deep Viper's wall. You throw in the Paranoia later than you would expect because you're getting information from Trent. You throw out the Haunt, you throw out the Seas, you throw out a Prowler, whatever you need to try to clear that early space, and then you just snowball with the Stinger. Sadhack fighting back, though. Spike has not been planted, 2v2, and Jonah's just playing with a Headhunter in classic combination, but he does connect over towards market.
Wait, you can't plant
by himself in the 1v2.
On the
Such
steps.
good awareness from KC to hear that spike get picked up. Once that Viper wall was up from Shaq, he thought he just had a second to get around to safety, but still get the plant off. 1v1, Sugetsu versus Fallon. And it's G2 that get the round.
G2 Force, never fail.
Huge stuff for G2 to recover. I mean, it's one of those, like, it's not a do or die situation, not the Stinger Force purchase, but getting that back in the mix puts this map right back into your grip. Changes the eco pretty darn considerably and puts KC in a little bit of a weird spot here on their next defense, caught off guard by the Stinger repurchase. And again, I think that
should I have my Sentinels jersey on now?
We're seeing from G2, especially considering what just happened in that last round. The isolation makes that B defense feel a little bit more uneasy in terms of what ground you have to stand on. And you see it, the wall goes to one direction, the Haunt keeps you into place on another, and you just flood through it. So that's something that KC will have to keep in mind. It looks like they're going to deal with that by just having Elite playing a different corner. First blood perhaps, but responded by Trent. Do they recognize that Martin is here? Well, they're going to confirm it with the Prowler. It just comes down to, will they actually commit? No, they don't need to because he will gate crash back to safety.
It's like the second time now this half that KC have early peaked at mid and have found punish on G2, just ego swinging into them, and it's not working out. KC are deadly with those pistols. They already had a thrifty against G2's anti-eco in the first half.
What happened, Trent whiffed?
Still, G2 have recollected the spike and now have starting to lean towards A once that smoke goes down.
What happened to Trent?
Tough battle there, though, for
They're
Jonah.
getting eco'd. Uh-oh.
Now has KC collecting a rifle and...
Either Trent whiffed or you guys don't fuck with this hoodie. What happened?
Just back off and play for retake in the 4v2. Recon bolt deleted, but at least reveals onto one.
Someone said, Breeding Token said, I'll buy that off you right now if you ship it after the stream, no cap. How much? How much are you paying for this if I ship it off stream?
Sort of a Alamo to stand on, and Shaq will fall.
Jalen, check your mail. You already got 2.
Trying to get it done with the Guardian, and yeah, just shoulders playing with them as everyone else is starting to make the way over. Hold on a second, they're not actually putting themselves in a position to play for trades, but no exit for Chocobo. And KC
150?
It's not the first time Giacomo has been caught between a rock and a hard place. He's trying to push that angle and then have that that lurk from Elite find his way behind.
Chat, how do I negotiate this? He said 150 to start off.
KC are putting out, especially when G2 were starting to knock on the door in that second half. So now that we're going to have some more guns coming in, we may just have a more even playing field. But then you got the run it back. You have the neural theft.
Double
KC
it, 300.
really
you in or you out?
Things, just running it down, having Martin
300 and you go bald. Let me know.
To just get the ball rolling early. And a lot of the action in these rounds has started within the first 5 seconds of peaking at mid, and that's been a KC first blood a few times now from that.
Yeah. So timeout coming through. An important round here for both of these two teams. In particular for KC, you use this timeout to talk about what exactly is our protocol for the run it back. Do we want to use it early, gain some early real estate, and really force G2 to have to expend this utility out of Trent?
Who keeps yelling?
Really only initiation
I think the players are yelling after they win the rounds.
Some space,
but
see if Trent will still use some of that utility early, and
we're
then
just delayed
use
as
the run it
fuck
back as a way to get some ground control on a retake. You know, do you kind of just keep Elite in the corner over towards B? Do you try to play a little bit more of a passive setup around A? Those are the questions here, and it just comes down to what have they done.
Anyone here watching from the West Coast
neither of these
of
two
the
teams
United
have
States?
Any competitive experience?
You are a fucking
on
degenerate.
This map in official form this year. So this is still a fresh look for both these two squads.
And this is a best of one, and KC are 3 rounds away, and I don't even know whether you
West
want to
Coast
call this an upset
NA.
or not. Some people are very G2 pilled and thinking
Or
the
Americas.
4v5, or at least playing with the coach, would weaken them, but still pull out wins against teams like KC. But KC upset Team Liquid in that qualifier, and they have been only improving and only growing from there.
Let's send play for this. Send play right
G2
now. They're
will
just
take
haven't
their
set up
time
yet.
at B main to just see how aggressive KC are going to set up their lurks and what they have planned. Where are those trips?
Yeah, Elite able to deal with the first Prowler. That's big. He's got both traps in front of him. He's going to collect one and then replace it off of the tight corner to market. Jonah's going to put some pressure over towards mid. Aldrone will not see
What?
him. Hold on a second.
The fuck?
G2 have maybe a window here where Jonah can calm, saying, wait a second, guys, I can sneak into mid.
You gotta expect this though if you're KC. Like, Jonah has been first blooded here a couple of times, but okay, it's tough with just
He missed
the
his timing.
pistol.
He missed his
And
timing.
you don't look both ways. You don't have a smoke on one side, and Jonah's trying to go for the big plays, and KC are not letting him get away with it.
No. It is one of those things, though. They make the right read, do G2. The Aldrin doesn't see it. That's the protocol for KC to clear mid. But again, in terms of trusting Jonah to get first bloods, he's not really provided. And that's been one of the conversations.
Might be Jover for G2 here.
What are we going to expect out of this G2 squad?
Nah,
missing
man.
Elite, who was one of their biggest ACS leaders.
They had to capitalize on that Teo meta. They had to.
I mean, for Jonah, you're looking at a player that had a 0.9 KD at Masters, middle of the pack ACS, and you're trusting him to find first bloods all of a sudden, where his first kill percentage was only at like 4% at Masters.
Does Sadak speak French?
Not good, is what you're looking at. So that's one of those situations that
Sadak's 19 and 8, bro. He might speak French.
A little bit in terms
but
of
they communicate in
not
English.
having Leaf in the picture, and it's costing them right now down big.
Ooh, just satcheling in. No paranoia from Valen, and G2 not being
Have y'all
able to
seen the
trade.
Key and
That was an issue
Peele
they had even at
skit?
Masters, but hey, there's the trade. KC kind of overstaying
Where
their,
he's trying
their
to speak
welcome and
French
not playing
on
around
a
the
date?
blocks close enough to go back to safety. Not maybe thinking G2 where everyone is going to be around that corner.
Yeah.
So run it back does
It's
expire.
so good. At the restaurant, yeah.
The space is what you're
So
looking
good.
for, because it's not just the pressure at A. You've also got Elite on a comfortable route through B main, looking to trap things up over at Tiles.
You saw it last night? You know, it's funny. I saw it last night, too. I was scrolling Instagram Reels and I saw it. It was so good.
Foaming at the mouth.
It's so good.
The timing.
Wait, no timing.
He misses the timing.
No
here.
timing. No
Bit of
timing.
a ring around the rosy from Ali, and he's been
Brother's
working on
holding
those lurks
the
round
flank from
after
his
round.
teammates.
Not so much in the first quarter of this game.
Timing is
but
crazy.
Really activating and punishing people like Giacomo, which great first blood yet again for KC off of that.
Trent gets caught.
Are you kidding me, JNM? Are you lurking me?
So just walks forward. The more space that Elite was able to take, the more that KC realized this was going to be a B hit. And clearing out market.
G2 had a
30 seconds
chance,
left.
but
Now
not
has
really,
Shaq.
I guess.
Would have to be a 1v4. Jigetsu, first one, dealt with cleanly. With 20 seconds on the clock and no spike. You're looking just to get out of here and save this weapon.
Wait, why is the assistant coach low key like mugging on his team?
Of KC, which again,
he's like second top fragger.
I think got everyone a little bit jaw dropped at the moment.
10 seconds left. Yeah, just KC are really working the map well. Elite, kind of a newer player, kind of going under the wing of more veterans on the team. Being able to activate that lurk is giving KC a lot more options.
Is he a former pro in anything?
To pay attention to what's behind them, and ever since that KC timeout, they've had a flawless. They've won this round. They're 2 away from winning this best of 1.
Yeah, and that's an important gun round right there that G2 don't really get much going with. So now you're in another economical situation that is going to require you to kind of finesse and play off of. Do you force buy?
What is mugging?
Or do you?
To be honest, I have no idea.
6 in a row to an
I just use the buzzwords that I hear.
Conversation is in this timeout. So not ideal for G2. And I think it kind of, I won't say it starts and then ends with this conversation point, but it definitely starts with the fact that this whole game plan for G2 has been, let's resolve off of getting Jonah P on this chamber for early first bloods. And in the pistol with the Headhunter, it looked like, whoa, okay.
2 minutes till sun match? I'm watching it.
The tour de force has been a non-factor. The operator in his hands has been a non-factor. And it hasn't even been like KC overwhelming him with both the double duelists.
I gotta show you this CS clip yesterday. I was watching it off stream.
G2 to worry about a lot of things at once, and they don't have the utility to re-clear space with only having a fade in the picture. Funny. So KC have got a good idea of what they want to do. Just avoid the first blood battle, or at least put it on your own terms, and then just make sure we're stressing this G2 now offense.
How old am I?
Really where they lack, which is 35. On the initiating utility.
And you would say that
dude, I need to start telling people I'm 30 so I can stop saying like
G2,
30's coming for you.
A whole essay around them.
I'm 32,
so
fuck it.
Him to maybe take on a little more extra weight in terms of the firepower.
If you think about it, it would be smart for me to say that I'm older than I actually am.
But if you lose this,
because then I look young. It's like, oh, you're 35, you look pretty good for your age.
It's just looking at stage 1 in Masters.
But the problem is, what if they don't say that?
He's 5 and
13. It's a risk.
He also has an average 80% cast percentage, and he's just not been a factor. Some of it, again, just off of the.
What if I say I'm 35 and they say I look 40?
Over and over again. Even right here, you use the Nightfall to get into the site, but they don't expect the cyber trap to come in. Hunter's Fury to follow is going to find success. KC could do no wrong.
G2 got nothing out of the Showstopper and the Nightfall. They kind of sectioned the site, and Elite just chose the perfect time to come in and get that headshot onto G2. We're just going to trail behind even more. What is showing out of KC? And that's going to be almost all she wrote, 12-6. I don't think anyone expected a scoreline like this.
No, not at all. And on a map that, again, you're looking at a best.
Should I say I'm 40 to be safe?
G2 have a
pretty good that's too high.
In terms of what map we're going to get. You're trying to set
up a little too high for my liking, if I'm being honest about it.
Filling in to play an agent that they're going to feel comfortable with. You get him onto a map that he has been playing well on, but it's just, again, your one initiator in Trent is just not providing the space because it's always an odd man number situation. And even right there, it's just not clearing and crossing our T's and dotting our I's. We're getting trapped up by Cypher.
Say I'm 32 and retired. People will be impressed instead of calling me old.
I think it's everything rides on what I was gonna say Jonah P could do in mid. He's been trying to get those first bloods, but it's gone usually KC's way. And Jogamo, Val, and 2 huge stars from G2 have been dimmed. The spike is down. G2 have to play against it and against a curveball, which this is not something you scrim against every day. And now you're getting zoned off by Molly, so you can't even play off the C's. Yep. So that's tough.
I mean, look at the setup. Elite, again, knows that no one's playing inside of B, so I'm just going to step up. It allows Sugetsu to know he just has to worry
about G2 look like bots? No Leaf, no Tejo, no G2.
Just one-way smoke on the corner where you know where the spike is down. So everything is sitting up nicely here for KC. Jonah needs to hit a shot. I mean, flat out. He needs to connect here. Viper's put to put some pressure, but again, good call here. KC going to drop the firewall, push it.
Where is Leaf?
And you got the long flank on the way. Shaxx
when he found out no Tejo, he said, fuck it, I'm out.
And there it is.
And the more time it takes from G2, the more that Elite can just start to creep his way behind. And if Shaxx decides to play out of his pit, he's going to be cooked, and Elite can safely just hunt for this Viper's pit and really ruin G2's chances of coming back into this game. But it is only 3 versus 2 for KC. And Elite is trying to seal the deal and put the nail in the coffin. And that's all she wrote. KC win the best of 1.
Wait, did we see the last kill or am I tripping?
Start for KC. And again, I know it comes on the backside of G2 playing with a
damn, that's disrespectful from production. Respect.
Leaf in the picture.
Production is hate watching too. They didn't even show us the last kill.
Was going right for G2.
They said, "No, we're good."
Not a single thing based on their playbook design was working out for them. Some of it maybe you can look.
Yo, production panned away before it ended.
And we're
that's fucking epic.
they didn't.
That was low-key epic.
Like, how do
they said it ain't worth it. Wrap this shit up. Wrap this shit up. We're delayed already. Production said wrap this shit up. We're already delayed.
You only have a fade. Like it's so much pressure onto Trent if you're not finding first bloods. And on the other side for KC, they get a good read on their opening.
Wait, why does
half,
everyone's jerseys look the same?
We're getting a lot of space here at A main. Let's take that. And then as we get to the halfway point, the second quarter, if you will, KC start to put the pressure on mid. It just forces G2 to make these tough decisions.
So. What did you make
setup.
of them as an opponent? I know that, you know, throughout all these years, you've played against a lot of people.
We scrimmed them a lot of times before, and we knew that their star player, Wheezy, is very good duelist. So, yeah, I mean, he was hitting insane shots just now. So, I mean, we know they're a great team and nothing much.